I'm going to do a little video here. I've got a 65 or 62 Falcon. I don't know if you can see under here, but I'm putting a C4 Corvette rear end in it. What I've done is level it up, take the springs off. I did a lot of work getting the centered real well. I've got the car centered good. And this one I've radiused the wheel well already. It was kind of rusted there, so that was pretty easy. Set a tire in it that I tried this one here at first. It was too big. And then I tried that one. That's a 60 and a 40 series. Then I've basically leveled the car here with a jack. Took all the springs off. I've welded one mount in here so far. And I've sort of temporarily hooked in a front mount. Got a couple pieces of rod just tacked in there, so I've got that set at upwards 3 degrees. And I've got it centered, and right now what I'm trying to do is figure out where these trailing arms here, or the link suspension rather, where it's going to go up into the frame. Now this axle is supposed to be half an inch, so what I'm going to try to do is put a piece of steel up there and measure one side of the axle to the other and try to get this thing a half an inch back. I don't see any other way of doing it, and that's what I'm going to do now. Did some measuring, and my drive lines are pretty straight. Now what I'm trying to do is set the rotation of the wheel itself. I'm going off this bolt, which is not really accurate, but the way I did that, I just put a jack stand under this trailing arm. What it did was pick up my rear end where this is no longer hitting it at all. So I don't really have enough in it, but I'm going to go do the other side, taking maybe the weight of this torsion bar off of it. Might make some difference. Alright, I did this one, put a jack stand under it. I got about 5 degrees here as well. And I still got some weight on the wheel right here. Maybe if I take the weight out. I had them jacked up differently. Let me take both hands to get that out. Yeah, that lowered it about 1/4 of an inch. And I check my angle again here. Kind of hard to tell off that bolt, but it looks like I'm down about 3 degrees on this side now. And rechecking this side. It looks like I'm probably about 2 degrees. I might want to lower this one just a tad. Fooling around with it. I think this one's about 3 degrees as well. Hard to tell because I'm trying to take it off a bolt, not really a machine surface. And I think my wheels are probably still level. Yeah, they were about 91, and looks like they're 90 degrees exactly now. So it's parallel in 2 dimensions, or level in 2 dimensions. Next thing I'm doing is just checking the center line. That scratched mark there is the original center line. It looks like I'm about 1 inch behind it on this side. And this one, that front scratch is the center line of the original. I was going to move it an inch back, so it looks like I'm about an inch and 3/4 from the center line on this one. Now I'll check the drive lines again and see what kind of angle I got in them. Thought you'd like my notepad here. This side here was 6 1/8 and 6 3/4, which was 5/8 forward. Now, after I rotated it 6 1/2 and 6 1/8, it's 2/8 forward. The passenger side was 6 1/4 and 7. It was 3/4 forward. 6 1/2 and 6 7/8. Now it's 3/8. So I got 2/8 forward on the left side and 3/8 forward on the right side. Now the reason we want it forward or back is so the U-joints don't wear out. If we have a straight U-joint, they'll wear out, so they're made to work. Technically, this was supposed to be 1/2 inch back, but I could have got it wrong. It could be 1/2 inch forward. I don't really think it'll make any difference. And again, checking my center line, you know, I'm about maybe 1.5 inches back of the original center, which is pretty good what I wanted. I don't really want to move it any further than that. The tires are already kind of crooked. This one again, measuring a little more precisely with my tools, you can see here. It's like I'm about 1 inch. So I got about 1 inch further back apparently on the left side as I do the right side. Next thing I'll do is measure from the drum or something back to a stable point of the frame, which is what I put the rear end in to start with. These two I had 29 3/4 and 30 1/2, which means that the right hand side is about 3/4 of an inch forward, and this one was setting too far back, so I'm going to try to move it 3/4 of an inch forward, and I'm going to do that just by picking it up and moving it on that jack stand a little bit. And I did that. Looks like I'm about 1.25 inches or something like that off of where I want it to be. Well, I got them both 30 3/4 from the back of the frame here to the drive line. I don't know how accurate these marks are. I just rough guessed at that wheel when it was in here before, but they're both even. Now I'm going to do one more thing. I'm just going to measure this right here from the brake to the fender well to see how close they are to the body. Yeah, this one looks like from the bottom of the brake fin to the fender here is 9 inches. This one looks like it's about 8 3/4, which matches up with what I got. I'm about 1/4 inch off on these things, but that's good enough. What I'm going to do now that I've got it set where I want is hook up these trailing arms, and that'll fix the rear end. Eventually I'm going to put heim joints in it, and I can always adjust this thing 1/4 inch. For now, that's what I've got, and that's what I'm gonna use at this point. Welded me a couple brackets for that top mount. Kind of ran out of steel, that's why that one is off to the side some. But now I'll just put them in and then weld them into the frame, and that top part will be done. What I'm doing here, I've got me a piece of channel iron I put on the frame, and I've run a 1 1/4 square tube back there against that mount. And I'm just going to start cutting it up and kind of tacking things in here to see what I got on both sides. Now I've clamped that angle to the piece of 1 inch. And now I can set my other little piece in here. And we're trying to see exactly where this would go. Looks like that's pretty good. I have a little bit to weld around the sides. And the other way to go would be here. And I have this up here flat. I just have to raise my 1 inch up a little. Yeah, that looks better. I can weld this right on the frame. That'll look pretty good. And I'm going to be able to bore a hole in that piece there and just put 1 bolt through it, hold it onto the frame. I think that'll look alright. So now I'll just finally clamp them in place and then start tacking them so I can drill it. Now I got it all C-clamped together where it's flat and parallel. Pretty much. So now I'm just going to start tacking it all together, see what happens. Alright, I got this welded in here. Looks pretty good. I haven't welded that inside one because I want to make sure that my rear end's at the correct angle. And I'll move over to the other side and see if I can't duplicate the same thing. Alright, I got this side welded in. They're not the same, but they're pretty close. And now I'm going to go onto that side there and make sure the rear end's at the right angle and everything. And I'm just going to weld those brackets in. I'm not going to try to make bolts for them or anything like that. It's just too much trouble. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do now, is line it all up and weld those in and be ready to put some weight on it. Alright, well, I finished this one up. Looks pretty strong and won't flex back to front. Wire brushed it and squirted it with paint. Don't look too bad. I need to find a piece of 1 inch square for the other side and then I can finish it, but all in all, that's in here pretty straight. I checked the body here. It's setting about 3 degrees and I got 6 here on this, so I'm 3 degrees up on the thing. All is good. Got all my brackets and braces and everything in. I'm just looking at it here. Looks like tire is about centered, but I'm gonna probably have to jack that thing out some more. I'm not real sure yet, but I'm almost got like maybe a half an inch there before it hits that sway bar, and in here maybe got 1 inch, but this is measured out here from the tire 1.5 inches. There's an half offset to the outside of the rim. I really can't tell much until I get the rims on. They should be here tomorrow, so I'm probably going to have to jack that out another at least ½ inch before I try it. I checked the other side. I jacked it quite a bit. Let's see what it looks like. And it looks like I got about maybe an inch clearance here. This is really not set up right because it's hanging down. Got a lot of camber in it, but just rough guessing. So it looks like I jacked this one out plenty. I gave up on the other one because it was all rusted, but anyway, next thing is put wheels on it, and then I can know for sure what's happening. What I've done is made myself a bracket there and welded it in, and I've got that bottom bar there about 2 degrees up, and now I'm going to check my two sides and see if I'm the same dimension on them again. One thing I found out here when I was welding that top part to that frame is extremely thin. It's not much more than sheet metal. I burnt through it several times, and so what I've done is just weld a gusset across there, and it's going into this heavier bracket here that the original springs are on, so I think that'll probably make it strong enough. Well, welded me up another brace. Drilled my first 2 holes in it. The other one was a little tight, so I made this one a little looser. But I'm going to clamp it on the frame and adjust everything, then run a drill in those holes and mark them, and then that way I'll have it dead center. This is approximately where it goes, so now I can mark off where I need to cut that little fender panel out there, and mark the frame a little bit so I can wire brush it and weld onto it. There we go. That'll mount pretty good. Since I was in there with a wire brush, I did a little cleanup on the rods and on the brake. I'm going to take the thing out eventually and clean it up, but for right now, every little bit I do, just that much I don't have to do later. Got it clamped in approximately where it goes. I just rough measured that bottom knuckle to the ground. There's 12 and a half inches. I just made them about the same. I'm putting that in. It looks pretty close. Now I'm just put some bolts in it to hold it in one place, and I'll check the dimension between here and the back of the frame on both wheels. Yeah, I got it kind of welded in. Still got to do the other side, but I used a lot lower heat this time, and did a much better job. I didn't burn through the frame at all this time. So now I just drill the rest of these bolt holes through here. Looks like they're in at a little bit of an angle, but I think that was probably because these joints here are kind of big. Anyway, close enough for government work. I'm drill them out and hook up the springs and see what it looks like. Alright, I got a couple bolts in it. I got my springs on. I'm gonna let her down now and see what happens. I don't know if that's a good idea to jack on that spring or not, but I did. So I should be clear all the way around now. I'm going to put this here for now so we can see what kind of... Yeah, look at that. Got no shocks or nothing in it. I'll check the level now. And we'll wait on the car. Right at 0. Can't get much better than that. This side's in good. Got to put a little shorter bolt in there and bolt it up. We're all setting exactly right. Last thing I'm going to do is do a quick check here. I'll just do a fast measurement here from the edge of the fender to the bottom of this brake caliper. Yeah, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. I'll go this way. Bottom of the brake, dead straight here. That lip is about 8.5 inches. We'll go around here real quick. And it turned out that this measurement was pretty accurate with my other one, my frame measurement. And it looks like we got about 8 1/16 or so. And I did whack that with a hammer a couple times. It looked a little weird to me. I probably knocked it in 1/8. So apparently perfect. Let's see what it looks like in flex. Kind of hard to tell. Yeah, so I'm getting a little bit of camber change, which is probably not so bad. But all in all, again, and bolted up. Everything's straight. Looks good under here. Now I just need to do a little more welding and cleaning and get the right bolts and take it out, clean it up, start painting up under here. I think I'm pretty much done. Some angles I had here that were critical. This was supposed to be 3 degrees. Whoa. I got it at 6 now with the weight on it. I don't know. I'll check the other side. This is pretty close. And it looks like I really can't tell, but probably 3 or 4 degrees. This plate obviously is not the nicest thing in the world, but that stayed the same. And I'll just check this once more. Yeah, putting the weight on it did change it some. Alright, 5 degrees, and I'll check the other side. It'll probably be exactly the same because I had them at 3 when I started. Yep, 4 degrees. Again, it's kind of hard to tell on that. I think I measured with this side. Yeah. Yeah, 4.5, 5 degrees. Good enough. I still got to get this one bolt in, drilled all the way through. It's kind of kinked right now. I really kind of butchered that bottom one there, trying to drill into it. My drill bit kept sticking in the bushing. Anyway, let's check the front. It shouldn't have changed at all. I've got about junk off in here. That's approximately the middle. Yeah, maybe I'm off a degree or something. It was perfect in the back, and up here I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not even sure that isn't the middle. I don't really know where it's at, but I think it's more like about right there. Yeah, 1.5 degree. That's good enough for government work. And just one last thing I wanted to check here. I've lined this up about with the center line, and from the old mark it looks like I'm off about 1 3/4 inches behind where I was originally. Of course, you know, like I said, I just eyeballed that thing in before.